Hello, welcome. If you are new here, thank you for joining my channel and watching this cute little video of this Soot Sprite girl. If you want to see more, I have over 80 posts over on my Patreon page where I have videos, behind the scenes, lots of fun and embarrassing stories, things like that. So I'll post the link in the video description below. And if you aren't new here, hi, welcome back. I'm going to keep the description of the process brief because I have explained it in past videos. But to start, I use an erasable colored pencil. In fact, I use a Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencil to do the whole rough sketch. And then once that's done, then I use a permanent colored pencil to really make the lines nice and thick and shape them out so that I can color it in, which is the next part where I use alcohol markers. So I use Ohuhu alcohol markers for this whole drawing. Side note, I have recently started using Copic markers, just a few of them because they're very expensive. Copic markers are very smooth. They're the highest end alcohol markers that you can find on the market. So it's kind of cool that I've been getting to compare and contrast the two and see. For this piece, I use the Ohuhu markers for the whole thing. So I really like to lay down my flat colors first, just keep it really simple, fill in the skin, the hair, the shirt. So once those layers are dry, I can go back in with the same exact colors to create the shadows. So that is the nice thing about alcohol markers, is that you can layer these markers on top of each other, like the same colors, in order to create shadows, instead of having to get a darker or different color. So what I do next in the process can really depend on how I'm feeling. But for this piece, I then went in with some highlights for the lips and the nose and the ears. And I really like this part because I think it makes a piece really start to look finished. So after that, I go back in with a thicker liner. I use colored pencils, sometimes a marker liner. And after that, just sign it and it's done. And that makes it sound so simple, but you know, it's a process to get here. And honestly, I love every little bit of it. Drawing has been bringing me so much joy, and just being able to sit down and lose myself in a piece. I don't know, whether you're an artist or anything, whatever you do, I hope you have something like this in your life to make you feel the same way. I wanted to just share a few thoughts and some things. Whenever I think of something new or important that I want to say, I always write it down immediately in my phone so that I can share it with you guys. I even considered the idea of starting a podcast. Now, not anything like official, but just having a podcast here on my Patreon page where I would just have one podcast a month for just $1 a month, just keep it really low, keep it simple. I have so many things that happen to me as an artist, so many thoughts that come up. I listen to a lot of podcasts about art, about being an artist, and I have so much to talk about that I want to share with you guys. So I'll try to get as much as I can of it here on this video. So let's get into it. So I just want to talk about like a few artsy things, some things that I've heard on podcasts. So the first thing I want to tell you guys about was this really cool interview that I listened to with Nathan Fowkes, who is an amazing illustrator. He worked for DreamWorks and I think Pixar, but I could be wrong. I'll try to link his website or his bio in the link for this video. So it was really interesting because the people who are interviewing him were asking him about how he sells his art. And something I thought was really interesting that he talked about was making sure that his art has legs. So the way that I'll describe this the most is that he says, if I'm making one art piece, I try to make sure that I can do as much as I can with that piece. So he makes the piece, but during the process, he takes a video of it so that he can use it during his educational seminars. He also makes sure that he takes some process pictures so that he can put them on his websites for promotional reasons. And then when the piece is done, he'll sell prints of the piece. So he'll do one drawing, but then he does his best to try to make that drawing go as far as it can, so that he's not overworking himself and trying to force himself to draw and make as much work as possible. This was like a really cool lesson for me, and something that I really want to try to use myself, because I really do try to put as much art out into the world, because I do love to draw and I love to share it with people. But there are times where I can't draw 5, 6 different pieces a week. I can't post it on Instagram all the time. So I really want to make sure that I'm utilizing my art to repost it, or maybe use a piece of something that I drew to, teach a certain lesson, like how I shade or how I do highlights. And it's something that I'm really trying to incorporate more into my own business. Something else I also heard in that same interview with Nathan Fowkes is that they really talk about how, to be a good artist, your art doesn't need to look perfect, but it needs to tell a story. So it needs to be able to leave the viewer thinking about that particular art piece, right? So if you look at something that looks really beautiful, you walk away, that was beautiful, you don't think about it again. But if a piece really makes you think, or has something mysterious to it, then that's really going to make someone feel something, and it's going to help them connect and relate to the art. So it's something that I'm really also trying to do with my own art too, is try to create a story. A way that I interpret this, like creating a story with your art, is what can leave the viewer guessing, what can leave their imagination going and cooking and reeling. And for example, if somebody has shifty eyes, or if they're holding a globe in their hand and it's glowing, you wonder, what is that globe? Why is it glowing? Are they magical perhaps? There's a lot of different ways that you can tell a story with your art, and that's something that I really want to try to do more with my own art. In fact, with this piece that I'm drawing now, part of that mystery or that storytelling is that this girl has these soot sprites all over her head and her face, and you kind of wonder like what they're doing, why are they there, what is she going to do about it, how is she responding to it. And yeah, I just think that good storytelling with art invites the viewer to fill in the gaps with their imagination, whether they know they're doing it or not. One of my favorite art pieces is by Devin Lipsky. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'll link her in the description below too, but she has this really amazing piece where it's a bunch of like teenage, college age looking kids running through the corridors of this house, and all of them are wearing masks on their face, and the house is like brightly lit from within. They're all like walking and dancing all in the same direction, coming down from the stairs, and you're looking from the outside in as a viewer. In fact, I think there might be like a character that's looking in through the window, and it's just like, it's the coolest piece, because you really have to use your imagination to try to like think about what's happening, like what's the story that's happening in this piece, like where are they going, why are they all wearing masks. I just find it so intriguing and compelling. One more thing that I really want to talk about that I touch on a lot in my Patreon is perfectionism and the struggle with it. I definitely struggle with perfectionism, but as I look online, and I follow a lot of other artists on Instagram and on YouTube, I am not the only one who struggles with perfectionism. And I really think that a big part of it is just like, being an artist, we expect a lot from ourselves. And not only that, but every now and then we'll just make like a baller piece that looks so amazing. And then we're like, okay, how can I do that again? How can I recreate this amazing work that I did? And I think sometimes we just get paralyzed by this need to make our work look perfect over and over and over again. And for that reason, I have recently given myself the drawing challenge of drawing 3 drawings a week, which if you know me, you know that that's really hard for me to do, and I'm just trying to allow myself to be loose and to be imperfect, and allow my lines to not be perfect, and not even color in between the lines, which sometimes like is painful to not do, but it's been such a learning curve for me. It's been such a good lesson that I'm just drawing for fun, for enjoyment. I'm drawing for the big picture and not for the small details. So something that I have done on my digital work, so I draw some of my digital work in Photoshop, and I have created this thumbnail window that sits right next to my drawing all the time that shows me this really zoomed out view of my artwork the whole time that I'm drawing it. So it really forces me to often look at that thumbnail and look at my piece from a more like overall overarching perspective, and I really think that it makes a huge difference in my need to be perfect. It allows me to step back, look at the whole picture instead of get focused on the fine details. My hope for these videos is always that my discussion topics can feel relatable to you, the viewer. So whatever your practice is, I hope you have the ability and the capacity to be able to step back and look at the big picture so that you don't get lost in the weeds of perfectionism. So this is actually a little random, but I did want to talk to you guys about Instagram and how I feel like I am being punished for not posting as often as Instagram wants me to. I find that if I post only once a week or maybe even once every 2 weeks, that my posts don't get in front of the eyes of my followers, and like I'll get like 0 likes or like 1 like on a post. So I think, actually I don't think, I know, I follow a bunch of other people who do social media and whatnot, and they say that Instagram actually does punish people. That sounds so aggressive, but if you don't post 3 times a week, they won't put your post in front of the eyes of your followers or even non-followers. So I'm really trying to post more often, 3 times a week. I also have boosted a post or 2, and I find too that I think Instagram tries to push me to keep boosting more of my posts. And by boosting, I mean paying for posts. So this is kind of like an interesting journey with Instagram and posting things and trying to just, more than anything, just get my artwork in front of the eyes of other people, because I just like to share my art more than anything. So yeah, just wanted to communicate that to you all because I just think it's really interesting. So now let's look into the life of me, the artist. Hi. Just kind of getting into some of the behind the scenes. This weekend, I am going to be a guest artist at a Comic-Con, and I say that in all of its glory. It is an actual comic convention where people are setting up tables and boxes and boxes and boxes full of DC and Marvel and whatever comics. Like, I'm actually not a comic person, so I don't actually know the exact details of how all that works, but it's going to be very nerdy, very busy, and this is like right up my alley. Definitely a place where I want to be selling my art. It's my type of people. So this is kind of like a first for me, actually, to be at a convention like this. So yeah, send me good vibes, and I'll definitely let you guys know how it goes. Oh yeah, and this is actually really exciting, but for this convention this weekend, since it's people selling comic books, a lot of like Marvel and DC, I assume, I am making 2 original pieces just for this convention alone, and I plan to sell them both. Just the original pieces. I'm not making prints of them, but I made a Gwen Stacy in her Spider-Girl outfit, and she's actually, my idea was that I wanted her to be upside down so that she's kind of like hanging from the ceiling, you know, like in a Spider-Man fashion, and she's doing like a little peace sign by her face. So I actually already finished that, and I'm I'm pretty happy with how she turned out. I think she's pretty cute. I decided to add in like a sunset background situation. So yeah, I'll be posting that on my Instagram here soon so that you guys can see the finished result. Unfortunately, again, I'm not making prints of it. I'm just selling the original. But the other, not print, the other original that I'm making is of Storm. And I'm really, I'm making her more of like a younger version of herself. I really loved Storm when she was in the, I think it was called Days of Future Past, when all of the X-Men are a lot younger, and I just think that she is such a BA character. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on YouTube, but she is so cool, and she's just so, her outfit is really, really cool. She's got a cape. I didn't know she had a cape. It's really awesome. So I'm actually currently working on that. I only have a few more days before this con, so I hope that I can get her done and just, you know, whip it out and not get too stressed about it. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys. In case you're a little more curious about the supplies and the materials I use with all of my drawings, and in this one in particular, I'm actually in the middle of writing a Patreon post about all of my handy dandy tools and materials that I use, all my go-tos, some of my new things that I use. So I'll be writing more about that in that post, but I just wanted to touch gently on the idea of alcohol markers. So this is something that I've been trying to use a lot more in my art. I'm a big, big fan of Lydia Cambone. I just got her new book about how to use alcohol markers. If you're an artist, you've probably heard of it. It's basically my Bible for art, but she talks a lot about how to use alcohol markers effectively, how to blend with them, and I've just been using them constantly to try to hone my skill in my craft when it comes to using alcohol markers. So I mostly use Ohuhu alcohol markers for my drawing. So that is the cheapest brand on the market when it comes to these markers, and the most expensive and also best quality is Copic markers. So these have been used since the 80s by anime artists. Like, they were the original. I don't think any other brand existed when they first existed. And I just recently got myself a pair of Copic markers that I actually used in this piece for her skin and for her hair. And boy, let me tell you, it was very satisfying. They're very smooth. The pigment goes on very nicely. Even if you don't have great paper, they still seem to perform really well. So in the realm of alcohol markers and really art supplies in general, you tend to get what you pay for. I do love my Ohuhu markers. They definitely get the job done, but there's definitely a difference in quality when you pay for a more expensive art supply. So, on to some exciting news. I am still considering opening up commissions. So, I really want to keep my commissions very specific just because I want to stay within the realm of what I'm comfortable drawing. I'm going to give 4 options only to draw an angel, a devil, a fairy, or an elf. So, those are the 4 options I want to stick with, and I want to just also make it clear that I draw female red characters only. And again, mainly this is just because that's what I'm most familiar drawing, and I want to just make sure everybody gets what they want at the end. So if this is something that you're interested in, stay posted on my Patreon and on my Instagram. I'll post something about it here soon if I decide to do it or not, but I'm really strongly considering it. So feel free to shoot me a message too if you just like need one right now ASAP, and I will let you know what the prices are and the sizing and all of that good stuff. Something very embarrassing that I wanted to touch on with you guys is that whenever I am going to draw a new piece, especially if it is a full body silhouette, I figure that if I want this character to look a certain way or be a certain shape or pose, the best way for me to do that is just to do it myself and take a picture or a video. I'm sure you can see where this is going. So I will often just set up my camera in my room and I will just take a picture of like how I want a hand to look on a face. Like literally exactly this video that you're watching now. I took a video of myself positioning my hand in different positions on my own face, and it helped me get the pose that I wanted. It's really effective. It works really well. But the really embarrassing part of it is that, of course, I look ridiculous while I'm doing it, and there are times where in order to get anatomy perfectly correct, I have to take these videos or pose naked. And I know that might sound weird, but like there are times where I need to see where the hip joint is or how the glute attaches to the quads, and it's really hard to do it when I'm wearing sweatpants, which I'm usually wearing. So I have lately, especially, so this this storm portrait that I'm doing, this original piece that I'm making for the market, I needed to see her leg in a very specific position. And for me to do that, I had to take off my pants and take a video of myself naked from the waist down. And I even had to take my shirt and roll it up like Britney Spears style so that I could see my waist and my hips. And as I was doing it, I didn't even really think much about it, but when I go back and watch these videos, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing and so like ridiculous and necessary, but I just think it's really funny, and I think other artists do it too. I don't think I'm the only one who does this. I'm pretty sure that Gretel Lutzke has mentioned that she does this too. So my thought is that if I were to get a certain amount of Patreon followers, because that's really the only platform that like really makes me any money, like if I were to get, I think like 30, I would be happy with 30 for now. Like if I were to get 30 Patreon followers, I would post a video of me doing one of these things. Not a naked one. Oh my God, no. But like one of the embarrassing videos where I'm like positioning my hand and like turning my head and doing weird facial expressions. They're super crazy and embarrassing. So yeah, I'll make that my plan. If I get 30 Patreon members, who knows when that will be, I will post at least one cringe video of me posing for a drawing, not a naked one. So lastly, and I want you guys' feedback on this, I'm thinking about doing a live stream drawing here on YouTube where I will draw everyone's requests. So I'll just have my notebook out and my pencils and my markers and everything, and you guys can just in the comments let me know what you want me to draw, and then I will just like real time draw it for you guys right there. So I only want to do this if there's enough need for it, because I don't want to get on here and there be like nobody on the live stream. But just yeah, if you guys want to let me know if that's something you're interested in, I just think it would be a lot of fun. I would really love to draw your requests. And that's about it. I really hope you enjoyed this video of this Soot Sprite girl. If you did, I have more videos over on my Patreon page, which again is in the link in the description. But other than that, I've got some bloopers at the end if you want to stick around for them. I don't have as many as I have had in the past. I am sorry. I will definitely try to get more for next time. Have a great week, everybody. Bye! Why is the lighting? This is with lighting. This is without. It's bad. Am I still recording? Oh my God. Look at this mess. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete?